Welcome back to this tool-assisted speedrun, where we're going to save all the fleas, and we're going to complete true ending while we're at it, while getting as little equipment as possible. So now that we've beaten Trobio, we can finally make our way and get some of the most powerful movement we have access to, which is the claw line ability. And this is going to help us quite a bit. So we've been making do with these cling grips to do jumps off of ledges, which helps, but it's still a lot slower than having access to dash. And we're not allowed to have dash, but cling grip, or claw line rather, is the next best thing. So we're gonna head there quickly, but first we do have a flea here to save, and this is our best opportunity to get it. There's a few explosives around, but not a big deal. Just let them do their thing. Some funky jumps here. This next room has some tight cycles, but we do have to wait, unfortunately, on the first two. But the rest of the cycles work out pretty nicely. Happens to line up. And then we're going to do a pogo up here to avoid the fire on the other side. Now this room is very fun without dash. We're going to make a use of a bunch of these cling grip ledge jumps. And now we finally have the claw line ability. And this is going to open up our movement so much and make everything faster. And in this room, we also will be able to do a fun little skip here, which allows us to avoid most of the hooks in this room. You can just do a triple claw line right from up there. We are going to detour briefly to get this shard bundle, because we're going to need shards to turn in for a quest. Then we have a quick little arena here. Not going to take us very long. We're able to get a good spawn with them both on the same side. Then the big guy here won't take too many hits. And then here we do a cheeky thing where we have one blow up the other. And that's it for that arena. Pretty straightforward. So now that we have the claw line, you can see that we're using it pretty much as often as we can. We're limited by our silk. And so our movement with this ability, it all comes down to figuring out where we can use it efficiently and how we can avoid wasting too much silk regen time, because we only regen up to one silk and then the regen period stops. The other thing is that when you do a claw line, it inherits some of your momentum during the wind-up period, so we always want to try to be doing it when we are at the end of a move, so either a pogo or sometimes a wall jump. So here we're gathering a few pins, because we're going to need those for a quest. And now we're going to go save Jubilana, because we're going to need Jubilana for a couple of required quests. And see that we got some silk from the earlier enemies, which allowed us to claw line through this room extra quickly. So now we're going to go save Jubilana. There's a couple enemies we have to fight for this. Unfortunately, this enemy can't drop a pin, which is very annoying, but is what it is. But we wait for Jubilana to pop out, and then talk to her. And that completes that portion of the quest chain. We had a little extra silk again, which again helps us move a little more quickly. And then we need to grab a couple more pins, so we're gonna a quick detour up to this guy. Just barely missed this bell. And then one more down here. Having access to the claw line is also very nice for combat in general, because it allows us to move to enemies if they try to move away from us. So we're going to be able to take advantage of that. So we're heading down into the white ward here. We're not going to do a whole lot down here, but as long as we're in the area, we're going to go ahead and open a shortcut for later. And we do need to have seen this area in order to unlock a quest for later. We do have to wait on the one hazard there, but the other stuff we can work our way around. Now we have to break through a series of breakable objects. Kind of a gratuitous number of them, if you ask me. And then now that we've opened that shortcut, we can go ahead and quit out. So now that we have claw line, our next main priority is going to be getting even more movement. And to do that, we're going to go get wings. Wings are a requirement for true ending, and they're also just very nice movement. So we're using the Coral Chambers Ventrica here, because that's the closest to the slab. And then do some nice, satisfying wall jumps there. And then this is also where we can get our last 2 pins, because thankfully one of these fights drops pins. We can get that one, and then get this guy. We won't be able to get that last rosary, but it doesn't really matter. We have a significant excess of rosaries at this point compared to what we need, and we're only going to get more when we do the courier quests later. So we can be pretty free with how we get rosaries. Here we're going to grab another shard bundle, because this again is going to give us enough shards to be able to turn in a quest pretty soon. And here we do need a few more shards for that quest, so we grab some shards from that guy. And we're going to want to come back here later, so we go ahead and open this beltway. And now we're going to make our way to the wings. So we have some fun movement in here. From this point, we actually want to freeze, because we're going to be doing a cocoon skip that skips quite a bit of movement here. It saves a substantial amount of time. And so we're deliberately avoiding heaters, because we don't want to reset our freeze timer. And in particular, we're going to do a funky little harpoon there that gets as little heating time as possible, because it doesn't cancel your freeze immediately. It takes a little while for the freeze to fully cancel. So now that we've successfully frozen to death, we're going to go ahead and head back up there, and then we'll be able to do the cocoon skip with the cocoon we've left behind. This is actually a very easy skip to do, and you'll see this in pretty much all true ending runs will do this. Anything that is allowed to die, basically. And you'll notice we make one difference here, which is we actually do spend a little bit of time in that heater, because now we actually do want to preserve some of our health. Yep. And you just pogo, and then harpoon across. And that lets us to get up to here, which normally you have to snake around. Normally you might take a bench here to reset your freezing, but Taz is fast enough that it can just sacrifice a couple of health instead. And we're actually almost to wings. We do another quick re-jump to get into the airstream. Speeds things up slightly. And now we play for the bird and get ourselves some wings here. This is a very long cutscene, which unfortunately is completely unskippable. Honestly, if this ability wasn't required for true ending, there's a very good chance that this whole sequence to get this ability wouldn't be worth it. And we would just skip wings and make do with other abilities. But it is required, so thankfully we get to take advantage of it. Now, once we have wings, we're going to want to head out of here. But before we head back, this is a hard save, so we can't just quit out. Instead, we are going to take a small detour to open a shortcut for later. And we're going to want this shortcut when we do the Mask Maker Courier later in the run. So it's just a quick fall down the left side here. And then we will head down and open the lever. Now we can head out and take the bellway out of here. And this routing, or this pathing rather, is pretty straightforward. It's just a drop. Very long drop. But it's just a drop. Ironically, there is an ability that can speed up falling, but we don't get it until a little bit later here. We'll be able to use it in a couple other places to help speed up falling. We use the challenge there to summon Aira, and then while Aira's arriving, we free the flee up there. Oh! So now we can make our way down to Bone Bottom. And so we have some quests we want to do here, but we are also going to take the time to head down to Weed Nest Atla. And we want two things here. We want the Snare Center, because that's a requirement for true ending. But we're also going to pick up the first evolution, because this first evolution will increase our damage output pretty substantially. We're also going to do a little bit of a trick here where we pick up this map, which may seem counterintuitive, but this is actually going to save us a fair amount of time later when we buy maps from Chakra, because that cancels the cutscene associated with getting a new map, because that particular map doesn't load that cutscene. So it actually saves quite a bit of time. And here we are, Weed Nest Atla, talking to Eva, and upgrading to the first evolution of the Hunter's Crest. The evolved Hunter's Crest is actually extremely powerful. Even more so with the next evolution, but we won't be able to get that one, of course, because we can't pick up the memory lockets. But Hundo, for example, can get the full evolution, can get quite a bit of value out of it. And that is it for today. But definitely stay tuned, because we are going to have a lot of fun stuff coming up. We got a couple of bosses. We've got a lot of little quest things to do. Get to see me beat up Savage Beastfly.